To tell you about the most important health alert. I've been doing this show for years, and I've gotten livid about the vaccines. I've gotten livid about the masks and all this kind of stuff. I want to tell you something that has been going on the whole time. It's been going on for over 100 years, and you don't have a clue about it. And there's people out there who are going to be, you're going to be mad about this because you've been taught to eat your green leafy salads and you think that those are good for you. Well, I'm going to tell you the dark green stuff, the bright yellow, the bright red stuff. People been telling you that that stuff's good to eat. You need to go back and tell them, that's not true. Those all contain vitamin A. Vitamin A. This is supposed to be something that's so important for your health. So, foundationally important. Oh, you have to have it for your vision. It's all a bunch of bullcrap. And some really bad science in the early 1900s has led to us being misguided. Uh, we were talking about there's an avalanche. There's an avalanche of people with Alzheimer's. There's Crohn's disease, eczema, psoriasis, arthritis, all these things that cripple us and put and then the healthy ones have to take up the slack and help, carry the load and everything. This is a huge distraction on our psyches. It's a huge waste of our time and effort and our energies, our potential to create and build things. And there's, people dying from this stuff. There's people who are literally living life as if they are in hell with the pain from the burning eczema of their skin. Their skin is being burnt by the vitamin A from their salads and their, eating liver. Some people think liver's so good because it's got so many damn minerals in it. It ain't good for you, folks. Liver is really bad. It's got high levels, high concentrations of vitamin A. The liver is the place, the foundational place where all the toxins in an animal get stored. They're stored there and then gently released into the toxic bile. And this is supposed to flow out the animal with the fecal matter. Well, let me tell you, it doesn't. This vitamin A stuff does not exit the liver very well. It gets absorbed and turns into this fatty liver condition. It also ends up going into the fat of your body and the adipose tissues. So you got vitamin A getting stored in various areas where you have fat on your body. This also causes dysregulation of calcium in your body. What does that mean? Well, it means you're going to have weaker bones. Vitamin A toxicity is called vitaminosis A, and it will cause your bones to shatter, to fracture spontaneously. Last night, I was going to sleep and I could feel in my wrist, I could feel there's tension in the bones. And I identified it. Oh my God, that's the vitaminosis A that's trying to shatter my bones. This is why older people get these hip fractures and such. It's we've got to stop it. So what do you eat? What can you eat to do it? And this is a way you can save money in the face of an oncoming economic collapse. Wouldn't you like to know what you can eat and why you can eat it? And it's so cheap to do? Sure. So, white rice, but get yourself some sticks of charcoal from bamboo. And I got some for like $13, had them sent to the house. And you soak in the rice, you put the bamboo sticks in there. So it pulls out, it absorbs the arsenic out of the rice. So rice is very cheap and it's filling, and you can eat that. And also black beans. Black beans are so cheap. I get a bag for $1.50 at Walmart. I 250 other places. Anyway, so you get that, and you can soak it. You can put the bamboo sticks in there, maybe pull some toxins out of the black beans while they're preparing, and then I pressure cook them. And then I get a hunk of beef, or you can do chicken if you want, or turkey, but not pork. Pork has this vitamin A all throughout the animal. And vitamin A is also known as retinoic acid. It's also known as retinol esters. It's known as retinaldehyde. Uh, Retinol is what's inside of those skin creams that Oil of Olay was pushing around on everybody. You put this cream on and it'll dissolve the wrinkles. The retinol is the main ingredient. That's what's inside your body, dissolving your body. Sometimes I walk around and I have this pain on my face. Like, what the heck am I in pain over? I don't feel anything. It's just like a sensation. This stuff, this vitamin A, the retinol stuff, it's in the literature. It can cause people to commit suicide. It's that crazy of a psychological impact on people. You need to know that this stuff is really, really, really bad. Vitamin A is a toxin. Now, I'll tell you, it is a toxin and it accumulates in your body. Now, some people can pass it out, so it's not accumulating as much. But other people who've had some kind of trauma that deals with their liver, the liver just ain't getting stuff out the way it used to, and it accumulates and they get fatty liver. There's even non-alcoholic fatty liver, and that means they're not drinking alcohol, but they're still getting a fatty liver. Guess what, folks? Vitamin A is an alcohol. When they talk about retinol, it ends with the OL. It is an alcohol. So very, very interesting. These are paradigm shifting concepts. And I'll tell you, because of this, I've got some kind of ADHD, I suppose. I'm self-diagnosing an obsessive compulsive disorder, perhaps. And but I'm using it. I'm using it to dive deep into this stuff. I've put like 60 hours worth of time into researching what people say about this matter. And it goes deep. And I've got, another 100 hours or so of stuff to go into. And I'm just coming up for air to tell you guys, if there's anything I want to pass on to humanity, it's that this fucking vitamin A has got to stop. They're putting it in our milk. They're putting it in our cereals. And they're putting it in flour. They enrich this stuff. They've got this stupid idea that there are people walking around who are deficient in vitamin A. There's no way in hell anybody in America can be deficient in fucking vitamin A. It's in all the foods. And there's no fucking way it could happen. Even eating the beef like I'm talking about, there's still some vitamin A in it. All those studies in the beginning that were talking about vitamin A being necessary, and the pirates on the guys on the boats, they would get scurvy. Scurvy is nothing other than diabetes, and vitamin C doesn't fix it. Vitamin C only covers up the symptoms. It never gets to the bottom of the solution. The only way to get to the solution is to detox a person from vitamin A. And that can take like 5 to 10 years to detox from it. You got to wake up and you got to stop taking vitamin A, not just in supplements. You've got to learn what foods have vitamin A in them and learn to avoid the ones that are in high concentrations. And you've got to pass this information on to your loved ones. And we've got to do it in some other way. I mean, you can't have me talking like a raving, madman on here. I'm angry. Whatever. But I'm saying this is serious, serious business. This is more important than talking about vaccines and stuff. And that is an important thing. I'll grant you that. But people know that there's a controversy regarding vaccines. They don't know that vitamin A, I mean, it's in all your multivitamins. It's in the fish oil. They got doctors telling you need these amino acids, what do they call them? Number 6 and number 3, and it's in fish oil. Oh, it's good for your brain. I remember telling some old guy and his wife, they were going through the checkout lane of a grocery store. And I knew that fish oil was just a bunch of toxic bullshit, because I follow Dr. Robert Rowan. And he had a book about, I think, amino acids. He co-authored with somebody else. And he talked about that the fish oils are like, the next version of fluoride in the water. It's a bunch of toxic crap that they don't know how to get rid of without getting fined by the EPA, Environmental Protection Agency, because it's so damn toxic. So what do? They say it's a health supplement. And it's going into your bodies. The oil from a fish is designed to be cold. Do you know it goes rancid at your body temperature? So you're putting fish oil inside you that goes rancid inside you. For crying out loud. On top of that, it's got vitamin A. Now, this is like, vitamin A in your food is like, you eat the food, but the food has the last laugh because the food eats you. It's actually inside, dissolving your tissues. If your body can't encapsulate it in some fat in some way or another to protect you from it, and then if you get vitamin E, it allows the vitamin A to be stored 20 times more densely inside of the fat in your body. This is why you need to study this stuff hard, because you need to begin a detox regimen to detox from vitamin A. You only have, maybe a 5-year window in order to get rid of this stuff before, something happens where it starts to billow out. Let me tell you what happens with your liver You eat foods, people who have eczema, for example, some horrible skin rash that comes on the skin. They'll eat a certain food like eggs. Eggs have vitamin A in them. There's also something in eggs called choline. And there's some controversy in the vitamin A toxicity groups that talk about how the choline in the eggs can actually help during your detox symptoms. Now, admittedly, there is a very dark thing that can happen to about 20% of the people who are on a detox regimen of vitamin A. And it might not happen for, 6 months, a year into the detox process, but there's something that happens and they don't talk about it very much. But when they do, they reference it and it's painful. And it's like depression. I talked about how vitamin A can cause suicide in people. It can cause you to take your own life. This is why this is one of the reasons, of many reasons, it's so important to start getting on a detox regimen of it, and to learn what to do when you get to this dark place in the detox cycle. Now, where can you go to find out more information about this stuff? Grant Genereux is the guy who figured it out. He's a civil engineer, and he was, and I think he's retired now. And he had horrible eczema. He talked about the pain from the eczema on his skin was like the fires of hell. His doctors couldn't do anything for him except give him like steroid creams that he would put on there. And his kidneys failed. And the doctor sent him home, told him to get his affairs in order. He was going to die. That's what they told him. Also, his vision was bad. He went and looked at the foods that were triggering him, to have these rashes on his skin. He looked at it with a microscope and he watched, and he could see how the skin was dissolving before his very eyes. So he analyzed the foods that were triggering this flash response of the skin being dissolved, a flare-up they call it. And he analyzed those foods. What is in those foods that are causing the trigger response? And they all had intense levels of vitamin A inside them. So this was his key. Plus, he's from Canada. And he happened to see that there was a parallel that was happening. A very strange thing happened in Canada. On the East Coast, there's cod fisheries. And those cod fisheries were shut down. I don't remember why. I think it was about 2014, maybe 2009, somewhere in that range. They were shut down, and there was this corresponding thing that happened where Alzheimer's rates started to drop about, I don't know, to about half as much as they were. And Crohn's disease, this internal thing inside your bowels, also went down. He's identified this thing. It's basically, your skin on the inside and outside. On the inside of your intestines, is the same. It's kind of the same thing on the outside of your skin as it is down in the inside, and on the inside of your veins and all this kind of stuff. So there's these patterns that he identified. And doctors will talk about all these different diseases. Oh, you've got Crohn's, you've got eczema, you've got Alzheimer's, you've got dementia, you got all these kinds of things. It's all the same freaking thing. It's vitamin A going everywhere, just happens to hit in a different part of your body and causes inflammation. You've probably had a rash. I talked to a woman the other day on the street. She talked about how she went and she was trying on this skin cream, and her whole face turned red, flush red. That's this kind of vitaminosis A kind of reaction where the body is, okay, you put something on your skin, it's going to absorb into your bloodstream. You're putting sunscreen lotion on, and it gets absorbed into your skin. Not into your skin. It gets absorbed into your bloodstream and starts flowing all around. You got to look out. They got titanium dioxide in a lot of those sunscreens. You don't want titanium dioxide in your body. G. Edward Griffin put it out in one of his newsletters about 6 years ago that the titanium dioxide causes the same sort of effects that cancer-causing agents do, but yet why doesn't the FDA call it a carcinogen? And you can go look at a lot of your foods. Do you read the ingredients in your food? I read a lot of them. I saw M&Ms had titanium dioxide in it. They use it as a whitener for the for the stuff. Well, anyway, these are like nanoparticles of titanium, a metal, nanoparticles of a metal that they're putting in your foods. I was very sensitive to it. I would get an eye ache. It would just drive me crazy. I mean, certain white ice creams would have titanium dioxide in them as a whitener. Not a lot of them, but some of them did. Anyway, okay. The other thing about ice cream, as we're on it, vanilla ice cream. So the milk, the dairy from it has vitamin A in it, and the vanilla flavoring. The vanilla flavor that has vitamin A in it as well. Spices have vitamin A in it. Herbs aren't thought to be very good because they carry a lot of toxic metals. They pull a lot of toxic metals out of the ground, and then people are eating those. Why do herbs work? Why do herbs make people feel better? There's this thing called the duration paradox. It's where something can make you feel better right away when you take it. But in the long term, you're worse off for having taken it. Kitty's over here. The duration paradox. And the man who figured this out with his psoriasis and everything, Grant Genereux, he had some training as a geologist in geology. So his mind was equipped to think in the long term. So for him, it was easy to think in terms of how does something affect, how it could affect you one way in the short term and another way in the long term. So what is the mechanism? Why do these things make you feel better? Because they shut down your liver. They tell your liver not to excrete its toxic bile. This is the whole thing. It's the bile coming out of the liver, loaded with high toxicity vitamin A inside of it. Much more toxic than the liver was ever designed to handle. This is why you have people's gallbladders going bad. It's just too damn toxic. All right, I'm going to get my my donation page here ready because I'm on a roll tonight. Hey, and I'm just, I don't know. I've just been doing my thing. Studying like crazy on this stuff. No particular way to make a profit from it, really. And I'm bringing this information to you. Who else is telling you this? Who else is getting your attention and saying, you know, hey, you've got to realize this. All right, there it is. That's my donation page. If you scan that with a QR code, it'll take you to my web page that has this information. There's Bitcoin addresses, there's PayPal, there's Zelle. You can mail a check down there to my Las Vegas traveling mailbox. Got all sorts of stuff there that can be done. Let's see if I can do this in a way where I get up on the screen. This would look nice. Yeah. That works. Donate. There's so much to this. But again, if you're just joining me, we're talking about vitamin A, how it's toxic, how this food that you're eating that has vitamin A in it might be green leafy vegetables, might be spinach, for example, butter, milk. I mean, in Mexico, they're enriching the sugar with vitamin A. Now, I can't tell you whether this is whether they're doing it on purpose to harm people. What does the vitamin A do to people? It affects your reproduction system. It can cause birth defects in children. It can cause the demise of a pregnancy. It can cause, what's it called? Diabetes. Diabetes. It's the same thing as scurvy. I'll tell you about the scurvy story about the guys who were on the boats. They were eating like the entrails of animals, including the liver and the kidneys, and this stuff was all dehydrated and made into like what do you call it, like a muffin or a something that would be designed for soup. So they would throw that in with some hot water. It would make soup. They would eat this stuff and they would get scurvy. Now, vitamin C from the limes and stuff would help to reduce the symptoms for a time, but it never cleared the actual underlying condition. So having vitamin A, sometimes using some vitamin C is useful to reduce some of the symptoms, the pain, the injury that it causes your body as it rolls around. So good. All right. I'm going to take that off the screen and go back to me. Won't you share this with people, with your friends and family, and we'll see if we can get this out, get this information out. The most important health alert, I call it. I mean, I was walking outside today and I was thinking, if there's one thing I want to tell the world right now, even if I were to die, I think the one thing I would want to leave as a legacy, the biggest thing I've found in my life, next to forgiveness-based money, that's what this whole show, doing Joe Baker's Remedy Report over and over again, like over 400 episodes, it's about creating a new monetary system based on forgiveness, taking the control of the money system away from the banks, away from the governments, and allowing individuals to issue money based on work they did, based on generosity, based on forgiveness, based on gratitude. You can write it on a piece of paper, write a nice thank you note, but date it, timestamp it, put a face value on how much gratitude you're issuing. We're going to go through some really fucking hard times economically in the next 6 months, maybe. Who knows? There are. I'm not so worried about that. I used to be. I used to promote Bitcoin like crazy because I was so worried. I'm like, how are the grocery stores going to operate? How are these things going to operate when the banks have failed? And I thought of Bitcoin as a crisis currency, something that comes in and works when other things have lost their trust. But never forget that spontaneous order does come about. We've got the whole universe, around supporting us, and an open mind can be inspired to have a whole new way of thinking, of doing things. Like if you're quiet and you're meditating and you've been thinking about a problem and how to solve it, all of a sudden, bam-o, it comes. So we can have spontaneous order in the seeming chaos of just everything around us that just comes forward. It's not such a big problem. Here's some questions in the chat room. I haven't been watching the chat. Let's see. All right, you got to detox slow. Shelly says many vitamins and supplements contain heavy metals now too. Nothing they tell us to take is good for you. EPA is not your friend. Thank you, Shelly. She says, I detox daily. Will my PBX detox vitamin A? I must check. It takes out heavy metals, pesticides, and graphene. Woo! Sounds interesting. Eczema is many times a vax injury. Well, all I can say is I've been reading the books by Grant Generou, and let me put his address on here. I got to take this one off the screen, put this in here, https://ggenereux.blog. This is Grant Generou's blog, and I hope I'm spelling it right. He's got 3 books on this topic. One is called Exiting the Fires of Hell. and then he's got another one, Poisoning for Profits. And the third one is about breast cancer. Here's the thing, like with breast cancer, is that calcium gets dissolved out of the bones by vitamin A and floats around the body, and vitamin A causes the calcium to go into places it's not supposed to. This is called dysregulation of calcium. And you end up with bone spurs on your foot, or, just the weirdest places calcium goes into, on the tendons, and onto nerves, that type of thing. So what I've told people a long time is to take a little borax with your water, a little pinch, not more than 1/8 of a teaspoon per 100 pounds of body weight per day. That's kind of your upper limit. And, mix that into water, sip it throughout the day. I have to say there is conflicting information about that. The World Health Organization, about the 1950s or so, said that causes some problems with men's testicles. I haven't had any problems with mine. And I've made it a practice to take borax for I don't know, many years. I've been trying to decalcify my pineal gland. Well, that's another thing. So the dysregulation of calcium is going to affect your third eye because of this calcium not going where it's supposed to go, kind of thing. My biggest concern is my brain. And 2 months ago, my brain was starting to really go haywire. I was eating a lot of pork with retinol in it, vitamin A, and there was a lot of fat. We were making, these soups in a crock pot. There were lots of carrots in there, so I was eating carrots. And there was probably flour in the soup of that. That's got enriched vitamin A. What else was I eating? I was eating grapefruit. Grapefruit slows down the liver. So all this stuff was log jamming into the liver and, bringing out pressure. And then there was probably something I ate that made the liver let go all of a sudden. And then, boom, you've got this. It's like the toxic vitamin A becomes like a fire, like lava, if you want to think of it that way. What happens? It comes out. There's a tube that comes out of the liver, goes through the to the gallbladder, and out the gallbladder. Then it mixes with the pancreas, I believe, and then it goes. It's a bile duct, is what it's called, and the bile duct then goes into a place called the duodenum, the duodenum. I don't know how you pronounce it. There's a guy on Mad TV he used to call it the duodenum. And right at the end of that tube, as it goes into the small intestine, it's called the sphincter of Oddi, O-D-D-I, Oddi, I don't know. I just happened to look it up in a medical thing the other day. So I'm all about the sphincter of Oddi. And I'm thinking I can treat that with my biofield tuning with tuning forks, and I do all this kind of work. I can clear the trauma that affects the regulation of a sphincter, perhaps, or a gland. I know I can do that with the adrenal glands, and I've done some amazing work, really changed people's lives by causing these things to regulate themselves properly. So I think this is happening. This can happen on with the liver as well. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to show you the web page. Well, maybe I should just type it in the chat so you can click it. This is my webpage for the show. It's https://remedycoin.com/remedy report. And I got to get some graphics up so that so I can put a QR code for all this stuff. Huh. Oh, I could do a QR code. I see how I can do that. Create a QR code. There it is. Shaboom, shaboom. Tiara da 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 da. Shaboom, shaboom. Da 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 da. All right. This is the web page for the show. And there I am. And you go there, you can actually see when I'm live. And it does it. All right. So Joe Baker's Remedy Report is about bringing harmony to the world through economic innovations, health tips, and increased awareness. We're working on the increased awareness and the health tips right now. A little bit less the economic innovations. You can schedule a guest appearance with this link, schedule a meeting or a therapy session. Here's an affiliate offering section find Joe here on Facebook, Twitch, Telegram, Twitter, library.tv, BitChute. Float.app isn't running anymore. My YouTube channel, DLive, Gab. There's a few others I haven't put up there yet. Special guests I've had in the past. There's a big list of them here. G. Edward Griffin. That was when I was doing the joebitcoin.org show. But special shows of interest. Here, body therapy shows. This is what I wanted you to see. There's a section here for the liver. And I worked on this, and I had someone live listening, and she could feel the work I was doing on the liver. Am I even showing you this on the screen, for crying out loud? I am. Good. Sometimes I do this, and I'm working on another screen, and I think I'm showing everybody, but so anyway, there's Grant's. I'm going to take Grant's link off of there. So this is where you can do things with your liver. And if you know someone who's handy with the internet, download these treatments for every part of the body that I did, the shows, because if the internet goes down or something, then you've got these and you can use them for people, play them, and it can really help and change their lives. So there's ankles, eyes, and the third eye. I don't know. I was just trying the eyes, the heart, the kidneys. When I did the kidney show, the woman that came forward, and she had the kidney problems. I really improved her kidney, man. She was at, I think it was a stage, she was at the high end of level 2 kidney failure, and I took her to the bottom end of level 2, almost a full level. I moved her down, and she just happened to go and have a test done with her. Every 3 months she'd had a test, and it proved to work that way. Pelvic health for women. That was kind of a lark. I was going to just do it. It wasn't for kids, and was thinking that would be kind of a fun thing to do. And but man, the universe had a whole different idea for that. And some women came forward who'd been abused as children, and we got a lot of work cleared up on some of that. I mean, it was a good first treatment. And let's see, tinnitus, abdominal back, plantar fasciitis, shoulder. Just a lot of interesting stuff there. The penis, the knee, vertigo, vascular system. I can put a focus on. Here's some of these other things. One of my biggest shows I ever did was about nanobots in the toilet paper. Well, whatever it was, some kind of wiry thing that moved on its own. And I opened up a fresh pack of Charmin toilet paper, got my microscopic video camera out, and the tweezers. I think I had like 200,000 people watch that thing. Graphene oxide, inspecting masks, graphene oxide in the masks, and the 5G problems. LinkedIn is trying to kill you. Big show I did. Joe versus Kern County. That's Kern County, California, where they tried to frickin' kill me, the cops. Just peaceful non-compliance, and I get clubbed 15 times with a baton. Here, 1,095 people die of vaccine. That was a big show. that was one of my first big shows that ever got out because everybody liked that. This one's kind of cool, the Michael Zazzio show. But anyway, this is what my Remedy Coin page. And I don't know if you got the link to it. I'm not so worried about it. I think it's in the remedycoin.com. That's where you can find it. Okay, back to vitamin A. Here's the thing, why it's so important to do the liver with these treatments and to do the kidneys with these treatments, because the traumas leave you open to triggering, and something can trigger, whether it's a kind of an emotional encounter, something just reminds you of something else that was traumatic in the past. It can cause like your liver to, gurgle, and spew out stuff. So what happens? We were talking about the duodenum, and we were talking about the bile duct and the sphincter of Oddi, the gallbladder, the pancreas, the liver, all that stuff. This toxic bile can come squirting out of there into the small intestine. That would be normal function. That would be fine if the bile wasn't so damn toxic from the vitamin A. Like we said, if somebody was eating vitamin E at the same time and there were fats in the diet at the same time, and all this stuff is coming together, and the body just kind of says, we'll mix all this together and put it in the liver. And so now you got something really, really, like I just want to think of it as a powder keg, like TNT or something. It's not going to explode, although there are exothermic actions that happen in your body, and I can talk about that too. Let's try to remember that later. We'll talk about the exothermic reactions between calcium and iron. It's crazy. Now, if you happen to be constipated, or just there's food in the small intestine and it won't allow the bile, your liver's squirting out so much bile that it backs up and goes into your stomach. The bile's not supposed to be in your stomach. That's when you feel nausea. Nausea is bile coming into your stomach. And when bile's in your stomach, then it gets absorbed into the bloodstream through the walls of the stomach. And now you're in trouble. And you'll start to feel pains in different parts of your body. You might be sweating. This might be your eczema flare-ups might happen. What else could happen? You might have pains in your back or something. Let's see. Shelley wrote, nano in our air, food, and water. And the nano stuff is a problem. I don't disagree with that. But most people are consuming vitamin A unaware. They're unaware of what they're doing to their bodies. They're unaware that they're causing their bodies to have to regenerate, and they're getting chronic fatigue from just consuming their salads, their dairy products, their fish, the liver, the fat from the foods, the eggs. These things, if you're not aware of them and limit your exposure to these things, it's going it's going to be something you're going to have to contend with down the road. And it's you know, you could eat something today that won't affect you for 10 years because it gets stored in the liver, and it's, you know, all compressed in there, and you get fatty liver, boom, 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 boom. And then, you know, some event happens that, you know, squirts a bunch of this bile out of the liver, and then you're like, you're walking around like a zombie because you can't remember shit, because it's affecting your brain through a systemic inflammation of the whole, you know, the whole body or parts of it, and, you know, the brain swelling up, and then it's not working right. I am so delighted that my uh, my brain is on fire, in a good way, to talk to you today about this important health alert. The World Health Organization, if they were really in the interest of the people and really concerned about health, they'd be all over this, but they're not. They don't want you to know this. Bill Gates is, you know, all concerned about vitamin A and wanting to supplement the people in Africa with vitamin A. You know, oh, there's a big vitamin A deficiency. You know, the only people who have deficient in vitamin A are people who've been starving for a long time. And if somebody's been starving a long time, the last thing they're going to need is vitamin A. They need food, just regular food. All right. So there's a book you can find, a cookbook on Amazon that has recipes with low vitamin A in mind. So you can look about for low vitamin A recipes on Amazon. Another fellow who can tell you a lot about this stuff, who I've been just studying, he's got 92 episodes, like 2 hour long broadcasts, live streams that he does. His name is Garrett Smith. And Dr. Garrett Smith, he's out of Arizona. His website is nutritiondetective.com. Let me put that on the screen. Nutrition. Nutritiondetective.com. And he's got a private forum where you can pay like $100 for a 1 year subscription, and you get in there and you can collaborate with everybody that's in there. I need someone to buy me a membership on his thing. I need to be in that forum, and because you know how, I mean, look at what I've done with my 60 hours or so. I mean, I've spent 60 hours learning this stuff. I've probably spent 100 hours explaining this to everybody else. How do you think I got so good at talking about this? I've been talking about this nonstop. God help the people around me. They've had to listen to this for for 2 months. I'll tell you, this does not go over well with people in the medical profession. They don't like this kind of information that, you know, upsets everything they've learned about. And so, you know, at first it was like, you know, they were going to put me in the, have me committed. I kid you not. I was told this by a loved one. And and this is hard. It's hard to hear. You know, I know I have issues that are similar I mean, if I'm to self-diagnose this stuff, I'd say I have ADHD. I'd say I have maybe obsessive compulsive disorder. And I know that uh, I was touching on not, being able to even remember things 2 months ago. But it was because the food I was being fed was loaded with vitamin A, and probably vitamin E was, compacting that stuff in. And then there were things that were triggering it. Plus, the grapefruit. Grapefruit is, let's see, Shelley writes, Bill is a eugenicist. Depopulation is his goal. Why folks believe anything from him is beyond me. Thanks for your comment, Shelley. That's the sort of thing that got me kicked off of LinkedIn. Besides the story about the underground bunker at his house where some little girl was supposed to be. Don't know what's true, just the story that was circulating, and I thought I would, let people know what's what. Important to know what's even being said. Whether it's true or not isn't the question. So, yeah, I think that this is one of the things that's meant to shorten our lifespan. That's meant to cause us to have to maybe resent other people, instead of being each one of us full of life and vigor, in well past 100 years old, with nice clear skin and all this kind of stuff. We can have this stuff. You should see how much I've I mean, I'm appearing like I'm getting younger. Go back and look at three months ago shows that I've done. I'm getting more youthful. My skin, this thing's gone away. That's the other beautiful thing about going on a restricted vitamin A diet. It's not the main objective, but you start losing stubborn weight. I've lost in the last 2 months, I'd say about a solid 15 pounds. And I've gone down under weight levels I haven't seen in decades. Now, tonight, there was a bag of chocolates, and oh my God, I jumped on them. I didn't eat the whole bag though, which is surprising for me. Usually, I used to, like, I get started on something and I just gobble it up, right? Yeah, there was a bunker under Bill. I mean, that's the story. There was a bunker underneath his house, and they were talking about him getting. It was a thing for him to get his jollies off with some little girl. And it wasn't long after that, and my LinkedIn account was shut down. 5,000 people I was connected to on LinkedIn. So I'm gonna work on. Well, I've got all this distractiveness. The internet has just really demolished my life in terms of being able to be focused on one thing and really executing along. But I've got a master plan for how to take down LinkedIn and YouTube. And it basically goes like this. You'd have to construct notices to the company to say that they are giving these services to people en masse to the exclusion of me. So essentially, they're doing economic warfare against me. Not only LinkedIn, but all the participants all the beneficiaries of LinkedIn, all the stockholders, the government who receives taxes from them, um, all this stuff. So your notice goes to them to tell them that they must notify all these other key players that I consider that they are all at war against me in this mode of censorship, and that um, the whole value of their company divided by 30 days, each day is that much money of the injury that's coming to me. And at the end of 30 days, I intend to take their company private, and I will be paying for it with my the value of my forgiveness for the offenses. And I also have to notify the Securities and Exchange Commission that I intend to take this company private, and um, that the money is coming from their nefarious deeds. And so this doesn't really change anything right at the first, but it does create an irrefutable seed of truth upon which consensus can be built. And, things like all of their intellectual property, is assigned to me, the patents and so forth. So anyway, that's one thing we could do. Back to vitamin A. What else can I tell you about it? So we were talking about the condition where the bile backs up, into the stomach and comes out through the bloodstream, and you've got inflammation all around the body. So I mean, I can tell my fingers are, skinnier after 2 months. Usually, just try it out. Try out a restricted vitamin A diet. Try it for a week, even 4 days. I know you're probably thinking maybe it'll affect my vision or something like that. Grant General has been on the restricted vitamin A diet with pretty much just beans, rice, and steak. It's all he eats. And he's been doing it for, I think, 6 years. He reversed his kidney disease. His kidneys are fine. His vision improved. His eczema is gone. I'm trying to think other things. It's just like all these things start improving, and you start realizing, oh yeah, I had this problem, and now that isn't, that's not as much of a problem anymore. It's getting better. It's a systemic thing. This vitamin A toxicity is running all through your body. And I think here's the other thing. You want to talk about, vaccines and all this stuff. What do you think is really making people sick? This vitamin A is causing all kinds of disease. Look, listen, what is the excuse they give for you to take a vaccine? Oh, there's people who are immune compromised. They have autoimmune conditions. There are people who are so sickly that that you have to take an injection to protect them from catching a virus or some kind of infection. There is no such thing as an autoimmune condition. It's all autotoxicity. You read Grant General's book, he will convince you that this is the case. So there is no autoimmune condition. I'll explain it. I can explain how this works. The vitamin A, the retinoic acid, breaks down to retinoic acid. The retinoic acid gets inside a cell and interferes with the productions of of proteins. It modifies it. It causes disruption of the DNA, and suddenly you're starting to develop proteins that are not correct. I hope I'm getting this right. I'm doing the best. I've never explained this before. And then the the cell itself says, "Oops, quality control. The cell has been, there's something wrong. We're not producing the right kinds of proteins," and it sends out a messenger called a cytochrome, cyto, cytokine, cytocrin, cytocrines, I think they're called. And the immune cells look for this stuff, and they come and then they attack the cell. It's basically, it's like, kill me before I, essentially, it's tricking the cell into, I don't want to say tricking, the cell realizes that it's not making the right things, and it just surrenders, and it says, kill me because I'm not doing the right thing. So here they come, and they attack it. This is not a problem with the immune system. The immune system is doing exactly what it's supposed to do. The cell said, kill me, and it's coming there to do it. That's what the cytokines are doing. Hi. Thank you for saying hi. And I'm doing well, thanks. So that is the basis of this stuff. But then the problem is the cell gets destroyed, but still the vitamin A, the retinoic acid, is now freed up, and it goes and it affects and causes a problem in another cell. So this becomes an endless thing. It's what's called autotoxicity, not autoimmune. So this is the big thing, and then it also causes coughing. So you get this stuff comes in through the blood into the lungs, coming in the back door, not through the airways, but coming in through the blood, the retinoic acid, all the toxic bile, and then you get coughing, like morning coughs, all kinds of stuff. I mean, I've had problems. I've had horrible coughs 10, 20 years ago. It just sounded like I was going to die. And, it would last for 3 months long. This is coming through the bloodstream from the bile getting all messed up, going the wrong place. So what else have we heard about that was causing an acute respiratory syndrome? Oh yeah, it's some viruses, coming and doing this stuff. Listen, viruses and bacteria are not problems. They're there to clean up the mess that's left over from vitaminosis A, causing all kinds of necrotic tissue in your body. What else is going to clean it up? This is the reason it's so important to have tools for detoxing, for opening up your detox pathways. That's right, Deanna. They are the janitors. Viruses have another name. Exosomes. Exosomes. And you start looking up terrain theory, and you'll start to understand that these things aren't really a bad thing. They're there to kind of bring some order to the chaos of all the debris, and to package it up neatly so it can be expelled out of the body. Here's something that helps with detoxing, and I want you guys to buy these from me. This is called the Prife Iteracare And if Shell, if you want to get in on this, this is a great thing to sell. Um, you guys might feel it. Put your hand up to the screen, and I'll send this to you. Oh, this is cool. You can work on your lymph glands and stuff with it. It has terahertz waves. It's kind of like a magnetic thing, and they shutter the magnetic field, pulse it at certain rates, and it helps to open up the the detox pathways. And that might mean the pathway isn't necessarily like a tunnel. It's a logical type of thing, like activating enzymes to do their work. Sometimes the enzymes, because the the terrain, the soup that's in your body and the interstitial tissues, it's so toxic that the enzymes stop doing their work. So you do things like take an infrared lamp. This is this is far infrared and near infrared, and I could turn it on for you. And sometimes I do this on my shows when I'm working on a different part of the body. I can treat, at least I think I can. I can treat this stuff. So let's figure I'm working on your liver right now, and I imagine your liver's here, and I just kind of send the light to it, right? And let's work on your hands instead. So we'll have your both of your hands here, sending energy to the hands, and kind of stirring and waking up those enzymes, helping get a little more energy for the ATP in the cells. Did you know that the ATP can jump out of a cell, go into the bloodstream, go to another part of the body, and the ATP engines can go into another cell? So you can treat the hands and the feet in a person who's in a critical condition, and it'll help get energy into the other parts of their body. I thought that was fascinating. Anyway, this is like a $15 bulb, and it's pretty cool. I mean, this FIR and NIR, far, near. IR means infrared, far and near. I can look real scary with that. You got to see this one show I did once when I was really upset with the. I was really upset with the government in Australia. I had all the lights off. Anyway, I was asking in the spirit realm to for those people to be removed. Shelley writes, my zeolite spray drops removes pesticides, heavy metal, and graphene. Together, those things could help tremendously. If anyone is interested, I'll send them my link. It's great stuff. Zeolite is great stuff. I think you're right, Shelley, and I endorse. The carbon 60 is said on the liver that they find a lot of the carbon 60 stuff in there. So I don't know that it's getting out, but then even if it's in the liver, maybe it's sequestering some of the toxins from the body. Maybe that isn't such a bad thing. You know, it's kind of like putting them in jail. The idea is this carbon 60 is like a buckyball of carbon atoms, and it just kind of like pulls in a bunch of, you know, garbage that would otherwise continuously be doing damage to the body. This is the thing, that the toxic having all this toxic stuff in your body is affecting your pH continually. I can't tell you how many times I've tested my urine with a pH strip and found that I was really, really acidic. And I would try things like using Dr. Bragg's apple cider vinegar to reduce my acidity, and nothing would do it. Nothing would do it until Rachel told me that to just use baking soda. And sure enough, I artfully used baking soda in a way where it wouldn't interfere with my digestion, because I would eat early. My stomach digestion was all complete before I went to bed. My stomach was empty, and then I took some water with baking soda. And what did I use? Maybe a teaspoon, maybe almost a tablespoon, and then in the morning when I woke up, I would test with the pH strip, and voila, I actually moved my pH down. It was really hard for me. And there's a doctor who talks about the acidity of the body, and that the interstitial fluids can't detox properly unless the pH comes down. So that is a big thing. Maybe I'll start jumping back on doing some of that baking soda on an empty stomach. Now, if you don't do it on an empty stomach, it's going to neutralize the hydrochloric acid in your stomach. No question about that. So you don't want to be trying to digest something when you take the baking soda. That, those have to be separate times. So there you go. Shelley says, absolutely, we are inundated with toxins daily. It's horrible. Got to hit the hay. I'll catch you later, Joe. Baking soda is great. I got banned from Facebook for talking about it. Is that Dr. Young's you're speaking of? Yes, it is. He's got good videos on BitChute. I do too. I've got a BitChute channel. But I'll tell you what, if you guys can help me out, I want to get on Rumble in a big way. And I don't have the money to pay for a subscription on Rumble. I need 98 subscribers on Rumble. Just Remedy Report. So, rumble.com/Remedy Report. And there you go and subscribe to my channel, please. And ask, someone that might be on Rumble to do it. And if you don't have money, please just go over there and sign up on Rumble and subscribe to my channel. It's one thing you could do to really help me, because I need to diversify. I'm leaning far too much on Facebook right now. I've got 14,000 followers on Facebook, and I'm so grateful for that. But and then I need people to go over to remedycoin.com and sign up for my mailing list. Remedycoin.com. And I'll put it on the screen. And there's a mailing list there. You know how it is. We don't want to lose touch. And I like people like you who are interested in the things I like to talk about. Because it gives me a sense of purpose, and it gives me, I can be of service to you by learning this stuff and, concisely speaking about it and getting it out to you. And so that's great. This is one of the best shows I've done in a very long time. I just really felt it today. Shelley's got a quick question. What is your thought on how I can? Well, while you're typing that, I'll put the remedycoin.com up there again. Go there, sign up for the mailing list. I don't. I haven't sent out mailing bulletins. It's not like a general mailing list. It's an announcement list. So if I send something out, you'll get that kind of stuff. How can I promote my tower garden? Oh, well, everybody can go over to Shelly Lynn's Facebook page, SHELLILYNNE, and she has tower gardens. And they, I think, don't they do some electrical stimulation of the plants? And that's powerful. I mean, I've done some things like that. I took 20,000 volts of power from a computer monitor and redirected it out to having a high voltage plate, a sheet of glass, and underneath was a grounding plate. And then you put the seeds in there, bathe it in an electrostatic field for 3 days. It erases all the RNA masking that goes on. So it loses all of uh, all the learned things from the parents, and it goes back to a prehistoric code. And so you get all these different proteins we haven't seen ever in a long time, and genetic expressions of the plants. And it does this for fish too. And I was thinking, man, it would be kind of cool to, you know, uh, get with a lady and get the uh, get the the eggs and the sperm, have those in an have them in this kind of electrostatic field, and then let them go at each other and see what we come up with. No pun intended. But um, I mean, there were giants in the past, and there were they say Anunnakis and the big-headed people, all this kind of stuff. And um, she says, "You're sweet. It's aeroponic." Ah, yep, yep. Um, but the thing is, we are being. It's like kryptonite. Vitamin A is like kryptonite to humans. And I was thinking about this the other day. Are we, why is it in my mind I feel I can fly? Why is it that I feel I should be able to fly? Of course, when I was a kid, we watched Superman and all this kind of stuff. But I kind of, here's the other weird thing that's been happening to me. I'll go in the bathroom, take a shower. I'll weigh myself before the shower and I'll weigh myself after the shower. And strangely, I weigh less after the shower. Sometimes it's as much as 0.8 of a pound. Am I shedding that much off my skin when I scrub it with these scrubby pads? That's a lot. I don't understand it. And, there's a lot of things about weight that just don't seem to make sense to me. And so I have to wonder if there isn't something else at play rather than the whole gravity versus mass and all of that stuff going on. So I don't know. I kind of wonder maybe the oils in the skin. What do they call it? Not subcutaneous. Well, that's a word. It'll have to come to me later. But there's oil. There's little packets, little glands in the skin that have oil in them, and in someone who's suffering from vitaminosis A, those oils are loaded with vitamin A, and when it comes out and goes onto the skin, it burns the skin, and you get this kind of thing. This is why the people with the eczema or psoriasis type of thing, they go in the shower and they They blot it dry with a towel, and then right away they put moisturizing lotion on. If they don't, the skin recognizes that it's dry and starts to secrete those oils, and then the skin burns. So um, we understand that that's from all this stuff. And again, here's this P. Rife Iteric Hair, and just contact me and say you want to buy one of these things. It's about $400, I think. And I'm not a rep yet. I need to sell 4 of these, and then I can be a rep. And it'd be great to have you guys in on this. This thing is the bomb, man. It is. Here's one of the stories I heard about it, and I was on the phone with the guy who had a stroke. And for 4 years, the doctors are trying to rehabilitate the guy, and he's just muttering, making moaning sounds, and he can't talk. His wife buys one of these things and starts treating him, and within like a week or two, he's talking, stimulating the detox pathways and kickstarting these cells going, stimulating, the what are those little buggers called? The stem cells into action. And I think also stimulating the enzymes to do the jobs they're meant to do. But enzymes know to stop working at a certain point. When the background toxicity gets so high, they stop breaking things down, because what's the use if it's not going to leave the body? What the hell? Why are we doing our enzyme work? It's we just gotta do something. So this helps to get to kind of stir things up and work a little bit more. So there's that. So there's the guy with a stroke, rehabilitation. This really helped him leapfrog and get back to speaking. Knees. She had 2 knees that were bone on bone with bone spurs on them, and the doctors wanted to replace her knees, but she just used this. You run it for about 20 minutes, I guess, on each knee, and then you do that every day, and then then she's walking up and down stairs and stuff now. Didn't have to do the surgery, and then she fell one day and bumped her knee. The doctor was telling her, don't hurt your knee or whatever. She didn't even put an ice pack on it, or heat or anything. This has heat. It has this heat, and it has some kind of light coming out of it. If somebody's got a problem part on your body, let me know in the comments, and I'll point this at it, and you can get a little feel for what it's like. I just love having this here because I've been able to incorporate it into the videos that I do to treat people. I have on-demand videos that treat specific parts of the body, and you can play them, and you tap into the healing energies that I transmit using these kind of tools and other tools, and just the mind and energetic patterns that I do, and like tuning forks like this, run it through. It's crazy, man. There were people who were down in Australia. There were a lot of people that were protesting the government stuff that was going on regarding the vaccines and all that. And they were using some kind of weapons against the protesters. And one of them I knew, and she was sick in bed for a week, and just didn't have any energy to get out or whatever at all. And I said, let me treat you. And so I'm imagining she's standing here. I call it her morphogenic field. You might call it a hologram or just an imaginary mannequin. And I just take that tuning fork and smash it inside the hologram. And I'm like banishing, I'm like pushing out the chaotic energies and bringing in the coherent, beautiful sound of a tuning fork. And if she didn't all of a sudden get the energy that she needed to go take a bath, that's great. Deanna says here in the chat room, she says that got my cat's attention. All right, I'm going to work on your cat real quick. The head, down the neck, and down the spine, down the back legs. Got to be careful with the animals. Sometimes they relax so much, like a dog, they'll the anal glands will loosen up and they'll start farting some really stinky stuff. But yeah, I've totally changed the nature of some animals by getting rid of some of the trauma that they carry along with them from things. And other kinds of things I do is like twisted copper wire. This is something I made. I usually put it on the base of the tuning fork so it vibrates it. And kind of a nice energetic flow from that. And I can run that through different parts of your body. It just really helps to get things unblocked. And I've done other things like use a gyroscope. And I do a lot of testing of different things, and I've got sensitive people who can feel it and give me feedback about whether these things are effective or not. But yeah, if you really if you're really into doing healing on people, or you've got someone that you love that needs, you think this might help them, send me a message on whatever platform you're on and let me know, and we'll follow up with a sales call. That would be awesome, man. If I could get start getting a cash stream in and get some people under me, man, that would solve a lot of problems in my life. The whole money thing is, well, the situation's going to change. I'm going to do really well. I've got a little investment in a cryptocurrency called XRP, and I'm just waiting for that thing to go to the moon. And it's not that I want it to go to the moon. It's just that, I'm tired of fighting some of this stuff, and I'm just going to go with what I think is going to, work eventually anyway. And then I can, once it shoots up in value, I'll sell it. I'll go into a privacy-centered cryptocurrency like Secret Network. But let's see, what else can we talk about with vitamin A? This is the main thrust of today's show, is talking about the most important health alert is that vitamin A is sneaking into your bodies, and you don't understand that it is your liver can hold like 10 years worth of this toxic vitamin A sludge, retinol, the stuff they use to dissolve your skin, is turning your eyes into mush, causing those cataracts, causing all kinds of things. You can improve your vision by restricting vitamin A from your diet. You can improve your skin by restricting vitamin A from your diet. My skin's like reverting back to a more youthful me. I'm really happy about this, and I'm losing weight as a result. Vitamin A is responsible for obesity. This is like I was talking about the weight, the things in the shower and all of this. Vitamin A is responsible for obesity because the fats that you eat are used to bind with the vitamin A to protect your body from this caustic. I'm using the word caustic. I mean, it's acidic. It's toxic. I don't know if caustic is the right word. I'm not a chemist, but I would love to learn more about it. And so all this fat is being used to protect you from it. Now, here's the other thing about uh, toxic stuff or herbs and stuff. Have you ever noticed? I'm going to tell you what I noticed. Um, I was with a girlfriend in Mexico, and I wanted her to buy some of this maca. You know, it's supposed to get people more horny and all this stuff, right? And we weren't going to buy it, but I said let's just put it in the cart and we'll carry it around with us for a while. You know, we're walking through the store for maybe an hour. We've got the maca, the bag of maca in there. I think that there is an effect that happens from the herb, from the maca, that was affecting her as she was pushing it around. And we put it back. You know, we didn't buy it, but you know, it kind of worked later that evening. You know, so there's something about proximity that also affects us without even necessarily touching us. And I know this because I'm a remote healer. I know, I can, I can affect someone anywhere in the universe. Um, it's, it's just the intention and matching to the person and the energy you want to send and so forth. So there's that. Now the vitamin A in these fat globules all over our body is in proximity to us. So it is affecting us. It's causing dysregulation of calcium. So the calcium is, being chewed out of the bones and it's getting put in other places. And this is why I was talking about why we can't fly. I know this sounds really odd. I'm a person who likes to brainstorm, and I find enormous benefits in letting the imagination go wild. And so this is some of that. It's not to be taken seriously, but it's to be meant as a seed into our minds to explore curiosities and fantasy. But what if it's the vitamin A uh, that keeps us from flying? What if? And I have to wonder what would a child be like if a mother had no vitamin A in her and the child was born. What kind of special uh, abilities would this child have? You know, we talk about, psychic abilities. These types of things are you know are common in many people. Or I mean, it's a common occurrence that we know someone who has psychic abilities. Um, Maybe not that each of us has them. And that's been something I've thought about many times. Is like, what is the potential, the full potential of human beings? This is something that's been an ongoing curiosity of mine for a long time. I mean, I know someone who has who claims to have been able to use telekinesis to move objects with the mind. Um, I know someone who can communicate with beings on a star, you know, instantaneously, which, blew away the whole idea that we're limited by the speed of light, that we're isolated out here. Wow, stuff's happening on my screen. I don't know what's going on there. We're still rolling, and we're going. And I'm going to say, take a moment and share my donation screen. So there it is. My PayPal address, PayPal@remedycoin.com, Zelly. You can. Joseph William Baker is my name, and is it? It is my name because I own it. I have the little registered mark after it, as you can see. Yep. And that QR code's on the screen, so you can point your camera and snap, and you can go to my donation page and send a ton of money. It would be wonderful. I'm trying to get this off the screen, so it's kind of hard to have to manage all this stuff and do the streams, and it's just a lot of work, folks. So this is all spontaneous. I don't have a script for the show tonight. I am just going, doing a brain dump on all this stuff. I was talking about the proximity effects of the vitamin A, and it causes the dysregulation of calcium, right? So there's something about your body, your morphogenic field, that causes your body to grow, so that you get a shoulder here, and it actually builds a shoulder joint, and the bones connect together. There's a plan, there's a blueprint to your body, and the bones are supposed to kind of keep regrowing and rejuvenating, and you're not supposed to be deteriorating. You're supposed to just be continually replenishing and continuing to grow. And maybe your nose gets a little bigger. I hear people's nose gets bigger, and their ears. So I'll probably be like 600 years old. I'll have those big Ferengi ears or something. Like from Star Trek. I'm aiming for, I want to live past 1,000 years in this life. I feel that our experience as humans has like extra stages we go through, and at 100 years we haven't even gotten to the next stage yet. So there's a kind of maturity that's far beyond the child to the adult. It's like the whole butterfly kind of effect, where you go from through a cocoon and to something else. I just think that we need that kind of experiential path of a really long period of time. So I'm looking to try to do it. I mean, there's legends about people doing that kind of thing. Saint Germain is an example. Man, there's a lot of people talk about Saint Germain up at in California, at the mountain there, Mount Shasta. I love it there, man. I would love to live there. I mean, get me there and put me in a tent. I've got a tent. You know, I might just take my bicycle and go there, set up a tent, and that bookstore down in the city is awesome, man. They've got all these books and tuning forks and crystals and interesting people coming in and out of there. A young man looked just like Saint Germain, just like him, and the red hair and kind of the beard thing going on. Saint Germain was said to have lived like 1,000 years or something, and he would he would meet people when they're young, and then he'd meet them again when they're old, and he didn't he didn't change, but they did, and they're like all puzzled. Um, so I'm certain that this kind of thing can happen, and I think that part of the key to eternal youth, it is eating in a way where you're not getting this vitamin A into your body. You know, it's like kryptonite to Superman. It inhibits you from being all that you can be. So what am I eating? I'm eating white rice, black beans, and steak. Or I try to get maybe roast beef from the deli that doesn't have any juices in it or any additives. And and I just maybe eat like a half a slice of that stuff in the morning, half a slice in the afternoon, and then the beans and rice. The other thing that you're going to probably need to do is adapt your bowels to this new diet, and there might be some constipation. So maybe kind of continue what you're eating with this kind of stuff for an overlap period, so that you know what will happen is in your biome, um, there'll be different bacteria that takes precedent due to the changing conditions, and that will help to ease things through. I'm pretty sure that's the case. That's what I'm hearing from Paula. I think it's Paula Dwitzky, DZWICKI. Paula, I learned how to spell your last name. Yay! Some comments in the chat room. Let's see. Star says, if your name is registered, does it belong to the Regis? No, it's mine. It's mine. It's my name. Uh-oh. Star says, I'm not far from Shasta. Oh, my goodness. And she says that there are subterrestrial beings in that mountain. I believe it. I think the Palladians are uh, rumored to be there, and there's even a council of humans that are there to kind of support them. And I met one of one of them, and we went there for a foot soak. And my friend was going through some horrible kidney problems. She had overdosed in a spa in Las Vegas, where they were putting these essential oils, and what was it, eucalyptus. She loved the eucalyptus, and she was like getting as close to the dispenser as she could. She sat in the sauna all day long for the first day, and then all day the second day, and she got into an overdose condition where oh my god, so many things started happening. Her legs got swollen like a log. her pupils wouldn't dilate. She lost endurance and all this. She couldn't even walk like 50 feet. And it was like she was having a stroke. It was horrible, 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 horrible. I looked up this information about. I can't believe you're up there by Shasta, Star. I cannot believe it. Oh my God, that is wonderful. I love it there. I love it there. I know right where to go camp. I don't have to pay to camp. I can just go there, pitch a tent, take my bicycle. I just have to gear the bicycle up so I can go up and down the mountain. I've got a gasoline engine on the bike. Man, that's like you don't know how tempting that is to just up and go. There's a down in the city. There's a river, and you can go there, and people go around there, and they almost worship the water that comes from Mount Shasta. And people come there with their containers, and they fill them up, and they swim in the water, and it's really like they're so grateful for this water. And of course, water that has energetics from coming down from a great distance in altitude. It generates a lot of life force energy, and this is measurable by devices. You can tell that this stuff has powerful energetics to it, and you drink it, and it really helps you. Unless there's toxins in it, so you kind of got to watch the toxins. That's it goes without saying, but and there's more toxins that are starting to come in the runoff rivers from mountains because of the chemtrails. So it kind of got to balance this stuff and go with it. But in the past, people just, and I was there maybe 8 years ago, and so my friend, to kind of wrap up that whole thing about the toxicity from breathing in so much of the eucalyptus, she had an ozone generator in the car. So she was able to kind of hobble out to the car. And I told her over the phone, like, get that thing, do a vaginal insufflation. So she puts the tube from the ozone machine into her vagina and turns it on, and she falls asleep. And so it probably ran, I think it had a setting for like 10 minutes or something like that. And she was, it helped her to get better. And I went and did research online. And do you know eucalyptus? It says if you survive the overdosing of eucalyptus, if you survive past like 24 hours or something, then there's a good chance you'll live. But it's very hard on the kidneys for months. So every so often, her mind got so clouded from it all that she had to do another ozone insufflation, and then it would clear her up for another couple of weeks. I'm not a fan of the essential oils. I think they're basically things that just kind of, and I'm getting this from Dr. Garrett Smith from nutritiondetective.com. And he's like, these things that they tend to have, heavy metals in them, and the things that smell fragrant are toxic. He talks about how the foods that are colored, bright color foods like yellows, reds, dark greens, these vibrant color things, they're toxic. They're markers for the vitamin A toxicity. So, look for the white, the white foods. You can eat bananas. You can have apples. You just shave the skin off the apple. You can have the apple. Don't eat the seeds. Those have arsenic, I think, in them. The seeds of the apple. And so this is the thing. I was into really looking at the problems of parasites in the body and fungal overgrowths, that type of thing. And I'm getting more and more convinced that these things are there to clean up the body from the decaying tissue. Like, so you've got the vitamin A, and it's causing the cells to create bad proteins. The cells recognize that they're not creating the right things, so they send out cytokines signals like a flare that says, "I'm not operating right, kill me." So the immune system comes and kills the cell, and causing a whole bunch of inflammation. The other thing that's happening, I said about I wanted to talk about this too, the excess calcium that's coming out because the vitamin A is chewing your bones down, and you're getting these minerals from the bones are getting released into the body, and so you end up with high calcium levels in the blood, and then that's going into your muscles, causing a lot of pain and stuff. That's they're not working right, and you end up with calcium in like the kidneys and kidney stones and stuff like this. I mean, I'm trying to put all this together for you. I may not have it exactly right, but I'm giving you the benefit of about 60 hours worth of research I've just delved into about uh, vitaminosis A. This is the saturation of a human body with vitamin A and the problems that it's causing. So you've got, and let's recap some of those things. We're talking about Alzheimer's. From the inflammation, vitamin A goes out through the body, causes inflammation pretty much everywhere. We're talking about problems with vision. We're talking about cognition issues. We're talking about severe depression it causes. We're talking about it causing people to want to commit suicide, um, to actually perform suicide. And we've got this stuff in the medical records, the like PubMed articles and all this stuff. Accutane is a failed experiment where these companies, I think it was Roche, a company called Roche, and they had this product. I think it was called Accutane, and it was called Accutane. That's the product, and it was really high levels of vitamin A, and they knew the dangers of vitamin A, and yet the FDA lets these things go forward, and all manners of problems. Like I said, pregnancies. I mean, they have this pledge when somebody takes the Accutane or whatever, so that the mother is basically pledging, uh, and it's not quite said exactly this way, but it's that she understands that if she gets pregnant, that the baby has to be terminated because it will have all manners of disfigurations, and it won't come out right. What do they call that? Um, Birth defects, spinal problems and all this. So the vitamin A gets in and around the body, and there's disfiguration that happens. You think about how people have, like, I've been having this thing with my neck, for a long time. And, you look at sometimes older men or women, older people, and they're hunched over and all this kind of stuff. If I were to guess, it would be that there's vitamin A and it's affecting their morphogenic field and it's causing distortions so that things grow differently and out of alignment, out of it's bending, it's morphing, causing distortions to the pattern for growth in the body. There's another part of this that I feel is happening, and it's I think I touched on it earlier. It's the trauma that we experience through life and how that affects our organs and how our organs, secrete and whether they secrete to the correct parameters. Um, like we talked about the sphincter of Oddi in the duodenum, whatever. Um, how much bile it releases um, when you taste something spicy. Um, how much bile it releases when you think about, oh, my homework is, I got to get my homework done, for tomorrow. And you're worried about it. So, you know, that affects your stomach juices. Your bile is releasing and it's backing up into your stomach, and suddenly you're nauseated. This is why I just don't like schools. This whole thing about um, sending children to a school and allowing them to be traumatized like this with these, false um, deadlines and all the stress and really the main thing they're teaching them in schools is authority and to be put under somebody's thumb. That ain't right. That's a nice clip up. Somebody clip that out and share that. I do not like schools, public or private. I have no use for them. That's child abuse of the first order of magnitude. It's like raping children's brains is what it is. So, um, we got the trauma. We talk about the psychological effects of vitamin A, the physical problems. Um, I don't know about meditation, those types of things. What I haven't heard anybody talk about those effects. I do know one young man. He's probably in his 30s now, probably a little older than that. All right, Star. Thank you for tuning in. You're going to watch a movie and catch up later. That sounds great. Enjoy your movie, Star. Oh, and enjoy the stars in the sky. Oh, wow. That is some beautiful country out there by Mount Shasta. Wow. All right. Thanks for tuning in and being a part of tonight's show. And good night to Cole. So this would be the other part. I had a friend. She was convinced that when she would eat meat and stuff, that it would not, it would hamper her ability to meditate and to project and to get out into the universe. Might be how she would say it. And so there were certain foods that would hinder that ability. Oh, you like my shirt, huh? Yeah, it's Flash Gordon shirt, I guess. Flash. Ah, he'll save every one of us. I was in a rock and roll band when I was in middle school. And, well, thank you very much. Thank you. Huh. You're full of compliments. Thank you. Compliments will get you nowhere. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. All right. Um, so I'm curious. This whole thing about vitamin A is putting a monkey wrench into what people have been taught was healthy food for them to eat. No longer are the lettuces and the fruits and vegetables the thing to eat. And the carnivores have taught us this, that the 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 fruits and vegetables are playing chemical warfare against the humans that eat them. And so we're seeing this in vitamin A. We're seeing it in something called oxalate material, a very spiky molecular thing that builds up inside of us and around our neurons and so forth. And it's very spiky, right? And causes a lot of physical damage and inflammation. So there's that aspect. So we almost look to the animals that we eat as a filter of both the oxalates and the vitamin A. So we're careful to select the parts of the animal that we eat. So we look for muscle meat, and we avoid the fat, because just like in the human body, the animals also collect um, the vitamin A slash retinol slash Accutane. It's all the same thing, but various molecular combinations and modifications of it. Except for the pigs, the pork has the retinol throughout, so it's dangerous to eat pork. And that's what was really doing me in 2 months ago. And my brain was just couldn't remember shit. And it was very frustrating. And fortunately, I got another chance at this vitamin A message, and I started taking immediate action, and went from having really bad memory scores to, in a couple of weeks, I was having, the best scores that I've ever had in my memory games. So there is hope. There's hope. And I contacted today some people, family. I was taking care of an elderly man who had Alzheimer's, and he'd gone. They decided to move him from his home to a nursing home. So I called them today, and I kind of said, "Hey, I need to tell you something. Do you have time to talk now? Can you both be on the phone? I'd like to tell you what I've learned." And they did me the honor of listening to me, and I talked like I'm talking to you now, and really got into it and explained, through it all, that this vitamin A is responsible for your dad's Alzheimer's, and there's a way to back off of it so that his inflammation of his brain goes down, and it's possible to make improvements. So we'll see this stuff here. Here's the question from Shakey's122 on Twitch, I think. Any tips on maintaining a lean diet while also learning into a calorie deficit? I was on a bulk and hit 230 pounds, but I want to pull back into a cut. What I want to say about all I want to say about that is be careful about how fast you lose weight. In fact, I add carbs, rice and buckwheat. Isn't it buckwheat? No, it's not buckwheat. What am I eating? It's barley. I tried some barley the other day. That's supposed to really kick in. It adds soluble fiber And the soluble fiber is really important in this um, vitamin A detox, because as the liver expels the toxic bile into the small intestine, you want to have some of the uh, some of the food in there with soluble fiber so that it can soak up the bile. I mean, there's people who have alternate opinions about this, and they don't feel that the fiber is essential. But I guess I'm at this point. I haven't heard somebody really explain why that's the case. I think it's probably a good thing to have it there to be ready to absorb it. It seems to make sense to me, and that way you can get more of the bile out. Here's the other thing. 95% of the bile that the liver excretes gets recirculated back to the liver. So it goes in, and maybe some of that bile, hopefully it interacts with the food, and some of the toxicity goes to the food and it goes out. But it's only about 5% that gets taken out with the food, and 95% of it gets recirculated back. So the more of the soluble fiber you have, I think you're going to make more use of, being able to get the toxic stuff out. So that's my play on it. Again, this is an emerging field. If you want to make a big dent in the world, get into this stuff, learn it, and start building on this and making things of it. There's going to be all kinds of stuff that comes about this. Books and documentaries and consulting. Um, they used to have these ideas of fat farms and stuff, or places people go to lose weight or to be taken care of and stuff. I mean, think of all the people that are sick with these uh, supposed autoimmune conditions. They need to go somewhere. They need to get away from the toxic people who are toxic because of their habits of eating. They're getting all this vitamin A in them, and they're resistant to change in their diets. So, you're around people that, eat a certain way. They're used to preparing food a certain way. And you come up with this other thing. So I'm going to eat rice and beans and steak. First of all, they think steak is too expensive, but um, that's pretty crazy. Talk about a way to save money long term is to buy the quality food that's going to make you healthy, that's going to reduce your cost of health problems in the future, because there's a bill coming due, 10 years after you eat some stuff with high vitamin A. The liver's been holding it, trying to keep your body safe from it for 10 years. And then all of a sudden something happens and it starts spewing toxic bile, and your body is toast. Children have died from eating, was it fish or chicken livers? There was 3 children, siblings, and they were having a meal of, I think it was fish livers or chicken livers, and one of them died, one of them got very sick, and the other child was fine. It's in a record. And what else is a record? So our friend Star was on earlier up by Mount Shasta. She was commenting about that. she has a friend. She and I have a friend in common named Jaime. And Jaime told me that when he was a young boy, about 12 years old, he was in a soccer league at school. And before a game, he decided he was going to take, I think, 5 vitamin A tablets. He wanted to be super strong. So he took these. And do you know what happened? They had to call the ambulance because he ended up with cardiac problems from taking that high dose of vitamin A. There's another story about a boy who came to America with his mother. And so he didn't know how to read the labels. And he was used to having gummy candies in the country where he came from. And they bought some of these gummy candies in the United States, but they were vitamin supplements and they had large amounts of vitamin A in them. He ate the whole bottle and he swelled up something horrible, um, almost died. These are the kinds of things that happen. And we need to be more aware that this is a health emergency. Shakes says, with my build, I have a hard time keeping muscle density. I am 5'10" and about 220 pounds, so I'm stocky and just can't get the definition I want. Well, I'll tell you, I have gone from about uh, 207 pounds down to 190 pounds in the last 2 months. And I don't know, let's see what I got for my biceps. Let's show them off. Da, 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 da. There's that. Let's see. What should I show you? My dad was a bodybuilder. So I'm going to have fun with this. Here you go, everybody. Da, da, da. Watch out. Too sexy. All right. There's that. I'm just getting started at this. Getting spasms in my back from doing this. Well, anyway. All right, back with the shirt. So I've been doing some push-ups and some sit-ups, and my tummy's going down a lot, and on the sides, it's coming down. I can see it. I'm in no hurry to get down. Because if you go down real fast, if you go on one of these keto diets and you're just slamming the weight down pound, 2 pounds a day or something, you could have hell to pay because you need to be able to manage the bile as it comes out and the vitamin A that's going to come out of the fat. People talk about feeling the toxic trauma from losing weight, and they talk about how your past traumas come back at you and you feel a lot of anxiety and all of this stuff. I think some of the anxiety is the vitamin A in the form of retinoic acid in toxic bile running down the walls of your intestines. I think I said it earlier in the show that sometimes, my kind of mental state, I'll notice that I'm walking around and I've got this, this squinting as if it's, bright light, but it's really kind of a mental pain. And it's occurred to me that it's probably a pain because of my intestines. And it's not something I feel in my intestines. not my conscious, but it's like a gut feeling of the pain of my intestines. Do you see what I mean? It's kind of an indirect type of thing that's coming out. And um, so that's the thing, just like, you know, use some carbs to slow down the weight loss. And because it's gonna come down. If you get rid of the vitamin A, you're gonna get rid of the obesity. They go hand in hand. And but don't don't push it. It's as Dr. Smith says, it's not a game. Um, the other things you're going to need to do is probably have some blood tests and hair tests to see what your mineral levels are like, and then support those minerals with supplements. Like I've got some of these. This is molybdenum, molybdenum, molybdenum. Zinc is going to be something you'll probably need. Here, I do some potassium, magnesium, zinc, um, and I'm going blind. I don't know how much I need. What else do you need? Folate is going to draw down when you're detoxing vitamin A, and this is um, calcium phosphate. You probably want to use the variety that's calcium phosphate. That's what Dr. Smith says. Mine is dicalcium phosphate. Maybe I got the wrong one. And vitamin B1, thiamine, is going to be needed. And that helps to, the zinc and the B1 thiamine is going to help to create what's called a retinol binding protein. It's kind of like a shape of a protein that has a hole in it. And the hole is where the retinol um, molecule goes. And so this retinol binding protein acts like a bun for a hot dog, you could say, and it protects the body from the some of the effects of the retinol itself. So that's kind of what you need in order to, to take this stuff out. We should talk about sunburns and the effect of light on vitamin A. Sunburns um, uh, are basically the retinol is absorbs the heat from the sunlight and causes heat damage to the tissue around it. Once you get rid of the vitamin A in the skin, you won't get sunburns. You'll be more fair skinned. You won't even get a suntan, sadly. I mean, I'd like to have a suntan again, but I'm much more concerned about long-term health and optimum brain health than I am, looking like Mr. Sexy. I like the Mr. Sexy thing too, eh? But ego. Let's see. Even with a great diet. I think we showed this comment earlier. And we got someone saying hello. Zero brains says hello. Hello, zero brains. Just get on this. What we're talking about, zero brains, is restricting our diet from eating any vitamin A so that we can detox the vitamin A that's in us and improve our brain function, improve our health, reduce anything that appears to be that effect they call autoimmune disorders, and uh, and reduce inflammation, reduce obesity. Um, yeah, have protect ourselves from these devastating skin conditions like psoriasis or problems in the colon, and irritable bowel syndrome, all those kinds of things. This is like a panacea of health conditions that vitamin A is causing on everybody. And that's why I call this show a most important health alert. It's about vitamin A, retinoic acid, retinol esters, retinaldehyde. Um, this stuff is just ravaging bodies, and people don't even know it. I mean, it's one thing to know about a vaccine and all the contaminants that they put into the body to stir the body into some kind of immune response. I mean, what they're doing really is traumatizing your immune system in a way that they can maybe fake it into the future to have a triggered response where they can cause it to go out of whack again. I don't know. I'm speculating, but this is something that they talk about in this, that when the retinoic acid gets into the cell, causes disturbances in how the proteins are made so that the proteins come out defective, and then the cell says, hey, something's wrong here. It throws up the cytokine alerts, and then the immune system comes in and kills the cell. And in the process, the immune system is learning that the conditions that it finds itself in are to be repeated again. If it finds those conditions, just start killing the cell. And so this is a learning path of the immune system where it's learning to do something that's actually wrong. Hi, Hoodie. How you doing? Yeah. And the pet food. The pet food is all, your dry pet food, it's all got vitamin A in it. So if you want your pets to be happy and healthy, and you want them to behave well, and you don't want them to have, gum disease and all this, did you know that bad breath is linked to vitamin A? And dental problems is related to vitamin A. I've got the yellow, buildup on the plaque on my teeth. I can't wait till that stuff starts going away just from restricting my vitamin A intake. I'll have better tooth health. How about that? So this is a most important health alert. And if this is the last show I ever do, I want you to share it out and get it out there. Uh, I want the world to know this. It is so important to me. It's important to you. It's important to your whole lineage of your family. Um, it's important to the economic system of the world. I mean, one thing is, if you can have a job and everything. Another thing is your health. And this stuff makes people really depressed and causes problems, these SSRI drug problems. I didn't even touch on this. What's it called? When people have schizophrenia, multiple personality kind of disorders. Schizophrenia is induced by vitamin A. So many things. This is Hoodie the cat. So it kind of makes me wonder, do they do this stuff to us just to make us dependent on their health? Their health system it sucks. The health system sucks. I mean, the doctors suck. The medical schools suck. And they charge so damn much money. And people think that they're people start clamoring for, oh, we got to have health care from the government. The government's got to pay for our health care. Just shut the fuck up and eat rice, beans, and steak, and your health will be so much fucking better. All right, here's the other thing. You think you need to have so much in your diet, to build up your muscles and all this kind of stuff, and to grow and all this. No, the so much nutrients that you need is because you're tearing down your body by consuming vitamin A, and you have to rebuild it. Well, what if you just eat foods that have very little vitamin A? Do you think maybe that your demands for nutrition are going to go way down? If you can get this key, you can understand that you can have stellar health. You can revert diseases that hospitals give up on and send you to go home to die by just eating a diet that's restricted from vitamin A, like kidney disease, like cancers. I can explain how cancers are fit into this concept of vitaminosis A. I think I can. Let me give it a shot. I've listened to it. I understand the idea. One of the things is that the vitamin A attacks the stem cells. They're very vulnerable, and a lot of your stem cells just get dissolved from the vitamin A. And that's kind of sad, So you don't get the benefit of rejuvenation of your body, replacing all the cells and stuff. So there's that. And rapidly, I don't understand it. I don't remember this part about the cancer, but it is in there, and it does affect it. So there's a chance that even reducing your vitamin A intake in a cancer patient would help a lot. I would do that. I would starve the vitamin A intake, and then I would prepare using something like fembendazole to go after the parasites. So allow the parasites to kind of eat up the dead tissue, and then give them an eviction notice, and give them the maybe go a couple months on a starved vitamin A diet, and then go for a regimen of hitting them with fenbendazole. But don't do the thing that the Mike Tippins talks about. He talks about using fenbendazole in combination with curcumin and ginger and there's a couple other things. Those are vitamin A ingredients. You don't want to. I don't think you want to use those. Just use the fenbendazole. I had a friend. She did the fenbendazole, not with. I don't think she had cancer, but man, she could feel those suckers wiggling around in her brain and all around her body, and she had all kinds of weird stuff coming out of her and a bunch of clear white goo, and just horrendous. And it was like flu symptoms for like a month, and she got through it, to her credit. And it's like crazy, but um but she doesn't get the vitamin A message, and probably isn't going to stop eating her green leafy spinach um and stuff. Oh, the other thing you can eat are like white potatoes, but take the skins off. So you can have, skin the apples. You can have apple. You can have the apple's a great fruit, according to Dr. Smith. Um, White rice or brown rice is okay. Not golden rice. Golden rice is something Bill Gates is genetically modifying for Africa, and it's modified so that it has vitamin A in it. Wouldn't it be interesting if we took the genetic modifications and removed vitamin A from foods? Like if we could have a white broccoli, that would be kind of cool. Or a white pepper plant. The other thing is carotenoids. Carotenoids, the word carrot, carotenoids. They have food coloring based on carotenoids. The food coloring has vitamin A in it. The carotenoid is basically, I think, two retinol atoms bound together somehow, and so yeah, a lot of the even natural, they call them natural food coloring because it's carotenoids. Carotenoids are natural. It could be even organic, but it's wrong. It's toxic. So we've got to get this through our minds that organic does not necessarily mean non-toxic. Organic can be toxic, and we can have fresh fruits and vegetables that are harmful to us. So you feed them to the animals. The animals will filter, not the pigs. The other animals like the cows will eat this stuff, and their livers will filter out the retinol, and they'll have their retinol binding proteins, and it kind of moves it away, and their muscle meat is safe to eat. So we can have that. So if anybody's like trying to help somebody get them back to optimal health, these are the considerations to do. And I should mention again, like when you use rice, I've talked a lot about rice. Rice gets a lot of arsenic in it, and one of the tricks is to buy these charcoal sticks. I buy them with they're made out of bamboo, and they have nice long little round kind of sticks, and you just put that in, and you pre-soak your rice before you cook it, and the charcoal is said to absorb the arsenic from the rice as it soaks in water. So that's kind of cool, isn't it? Nice technique, a way to reduce the toxic load. I mean, aren't I doing fantastic in this show? To think that just 2 months ago, I was having difficulty putting sentences together. And I was having difficulty remembering things. And here I am I'm on fire talking about something that I'm passionate about. And oh yeah. Well, I think this is about it. I really hope you guys share this thing out. Share this thing to the moon, man. And donate, won't you? Please. I mean, I worked my tail off on learning all of this stuff. And I really do. And bringing it out to you, it's a huge opportunity cost in my life. And I don't know. Um, I don't know where else, you get this kind of passion about this stuff, and somebody willing to take risks to broadcast this stuff. I think I'm even broadcasting on YouTube, and I've touched on some verboten topics that could get my YouTube stuff axed. So, um, I'm doing a lot here to bring you something I feel is very important to you, and I know you think it's important as well, or you wouldn't still be listening. Um, I know I know money's really tight, and even if you can just do a little bit, it would go a long way. Um, I've got I mean my bank account's even going negative right now, and I've got I don't have a lot of bills. I mean, pretty much my housing is taken care of, but I've got credit cards that I've used, and I have to make payments on and stuff, and it's about $300 a month. But I've got some bounce fees and stuff I'm going to have to deal with. I know nobody wants to pay that kind of stuff, but uh, um, it's all part of it. And maybe I should have been coming to people earlier and saying I need help. I've applied for 3 jobs today, and we'll see if I've got one hit. I've actually got an interview on the phone tomorrow, so I'm excited about that. Actually, I should probably get to bed so I can be awake for that. It's late. I couldn't believe it's going on 20 minutes before 2 a.m. in the morning. I don't usually go. I'm not usually up this late, but this is an emergency kind of important broadcast, bringing you the latest information I have about vitamin A being toxic. And I don't know. What are you going to do? What are you going to do about it? I think, number one, to start deciding that you're going to invest some time into learning about this, learn about the pitfalls of the diet. There's a 20% chance you'll be one of the people who has negative reactions to the detox effects of detoxing vitamin A. And the one thing I heard is there's something called choline. It's in eggs, I think in the egg yolk. And normally we'd avoid the egg yolk because it has vitamin A, but it also has choline in it. And somehow choline can help give you a little softer landing or slow down the detox effects, when you kind of need to put the brakes on and like hold on to yourself, because this can be a wild ride. When your liver starts letting go of this vitamin A in mass, it could be very critical. I mean, you almost need a consultant who you can go to, or a team. That's why Dr. Garrett Smith and his nutritiondetective.com site is so important. He has a program called the Love Your Liver Network. And for $100, you can get into a 1-year membership, and there's thousands of people in there, and they all help each other, and they're all together figuring this stuff out to understand what is what the heck are we doing here, and what can we what works and what doesn't work, what are people's experiences. That's where I know one of the best, or and I'd like someone to donate me a membership in Dr. Smith's Love Your Liver Network, so I can get access to the things that he says that aren't allowed on the public networks. There's stuff that gets censored, so he steers clear of that stuff to protect his communication channels. I tend to be a little bit more rogue, and censors be damned. I like to tell it like it is, and I've done that, and I've really, I've gotten censored. YouTube shut down 3 of my channels. Twitter shut down one of my channels. LinkedIn shut one of my channels down. And I have no remorse. I absolutely 100% still am very convinced in what I was saying was right. And, the first thing I was doing was telling people about ozone therapy and how they shouldn't be so afraid of a lot of these conditions, because ozone is an amazing way to bring down inflammation and well, anyway, and it turns out, ozone is useful to treat vitamin A. I think it brings down the inflammation. That's the one big part, is vitamin A causes a lot of inflammation, and ozone helps to neutralize toxins. It oxidizes them. So, I don't know. I think there still needs to be a little more research. I think Paula Zwicky is, I think, one of the point persons on this stuff in terms of ozone and vitamin A. She's investing a lot of her time and attention into that matter, and she's a naturopath herself in Germany, and she's written books on ozone therapy, and she's built a website about vitamin A being a poison. She's the one who's kind of keyed me on this. Zwicky, DZWICKI, I think is how it's spelled. Anyway, thank you everybody for hanging out with me late at night. I'm losing steam, and I've got to go to bed so I can get up in the morning. Thank you so much. We'll be in touch, won't we? And thank you so much. Bye.